What to do? Hello, welcome to the Isle of Roux. We have Theo joining us from his studio and Kelly joining us from hers. And I'll start with the land acknowledgement. The Creator gifted us with this land that we are blessed to share and care for together. We acknowledge that the land we gather on Mokinstis is the ancestral territory of the Siksika Sitapi, the Siksika, the Gaina, the Pikani, and the Amskapi Pikani. We acknowledge all First Nations and Métis of Treaty 7 lands, the Tsuut'ina, the Ithkabi, which includes Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney. We commit to advancing reconciliation guided by truth, respecting treaty laws, and humbly walking alongside First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. We recognize all who live, work, play, and make art on these lands, and who now call this place home. It's very nice to be getting together to make some art on this island. I'm going to be working with gouache tonight.
Ooh.
Gouache. I did this mushroom.
But gouache, Mr. Dillon. What are we going to do about the bandits?
I did this one a while ago. Exactly.
Who did you say, Mr. Who?
Gouache.
Okay, I see it on my page.
Okay.
I am not seeing it on the Rumble House page.
It came up on the YouTube.
Oh, here we are now. Thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
That is sketchy. So I bought myself, the starting pieces to start to develop my film to
Develop your film to do what?
develop my film from film to negatives.
Ah,
I need your help here.
What do we need?
Just watch carefully.
Oh, that's nicer. Yeah.
Did it flicker at all?
No.
It's flickering a ton when it was plugged into the desktop, but not plugged into the adapter, which I would have thought would have been less stable, but it's more stable.
Stability is a relative.
I'd be interested in knowing what kind of wear and tear this broadcasting does on our equipment, because it seems like stuff wears out, eh? We are doing kind of extensive 2-hour broadcasts.
yeah.
I think we're doing good. And things used up. And
Kelly's here. Is there anybody else here? 1, 2, 3, 4.
1,
5,
2,
6,
3.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do 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 do. That song, I think they should update into a punk rock song. Also, the Coyote and the Roadrunner song, I think, would make a pretty smashing punk rock song. Speed metal. Is my camera in the? Where is it? It's right here. Oh, you can see the side right here. See?
Oh, that's
But
fine.
doesn't really look like anything, does it?
No.
I like how this black spot kind of feels like.
Oh, there's black. Yeah.
Those, but it kind of feels like those, I think when I saw the movie Jacob Tutu and the Hooded Fang, there was a very, who's that? Oh, that's me. I'm like, who's this interesting chap? Hello. Hello, my name is Chappie. I found out why we don't use that word about the AI.
Oh yeah, today?
Yeah.
Nice. From the kids?
Yeah.
Why we don't use the word?
Yeah.
Which word is that?
Not going to say it.
Oh, great.
It's just a word that we heard that was funny. But the kids go, but don't use that word. Never use that word. And I presumed it probably meant like a body part, but it's actually meant to reference the robot android version of the. There's a couple words we never say.
Oh, like a slave?
Yeah.
But like, whoa.
holding an
Whoa,
eyeball?
that's heavy.
Oh, that's nice. Look at that. With all the lighting in here.
That's nice.
Mm,
Less nice.
we do this thing where I hand stuff to Jessie and she doesn't grab it. It's fun.
Or I hand
Yeah, the
stuff to
opposite
you,
is she'll
and I
hand me
don't
stuff
let
and
go.
she won't let go.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Scott, if you're free Thursday, I'm going to come by and do some artwork with you at your house. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I don't really need this. I don't really need the skull. I kind of got it all figured out. Let me use it. How do you feel about that?
You're wild.
No, like I'm actually being kind of tame. Like I'm drawing from reference. It's because whenever I draw from my brain, I feel like I'm being lazy. And when I draw from reference, I feel like I'm being lazy. Isn't that funny? Like I just never feel good about myself. That's how that works.
I think that's always in our heads. Like
I like that I can draw, I can paint without a sketch, but I also love this pen so much that I want to sketch with it. So, welcome to a day of the life with Rich J.
Walter Mitty.
Walter Mitty.
Day in the life of Walter Mitty.
I bought myself a Fisher Space pen, and then I lost it. I broke down and bought another one, and I lost that too. Right before the strike. No, it was I lost the first pen before the strike, and I lost the second pen like literally our first day back. That's when I accidentally smoked crack, and then
Right, bumping the table.
no, your elbow is a little close when it goes up.
I will watch that.
When I used to do a rock club with the kids, I'd be like, "Can you guys turn those guitars down a bit?" And they would turn the knob on the guitar, not the amp, down a tiny bit. And then with the lightest touch, they would touch the strings and go, "Is that okay, Mr. Taylor?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." And then as soon as I went back to whatever I was doing, they would start hammering on the electric guitars, definitely. And that's why I am deaf in my right ear. Part of it, anyways. And then Felix did that to me the other day. I sat down and I turned his bass down because it was too loud for the apartment. And then he starts playing it. And I turn around and I'm like, "Did you turn that up?" And he's like, "No, look." I'm like, "Did you turn it up?" He's like, "It's not loud." I'm like, "Did you turn it up?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, do you know why I'm deaf in my right ear? I deafened myself at the rock club. Here's something. Don't say their names because they're people in your real life. But those two young people who have a kid in your school that I taught were at my rock club. And I have video of it here, some in the house somewhere of the rock club. So there would be video of them. One of them might have even been in one of the rock bands.
Well, there she be.
That led to my deafness.
I feel like you only live once.
I would love to have 2 ears while I live once.
Well, you kind of do. It's just that only one of them works.
Okay, that's a pretty fair point, Theo. And I think I'm going to say if I had a choice between being deaf in one ear, but having the flesh of both ears, or having two working ears and the flesh of one.
You'd go with the Van Gogh version, or the Van
No,
Gogh.
I think I'd rather be deaf in my right ear than have a mutilated missing ear.
Oh, really?
And that's not to say that if somebody else is missing an ear, I look down on them in any way. I'm just saying personally, I was less traumatized about losing the hearing in my ear. Out of my face.
We learned something about Rich. It's like he can, I think we talked about this before. He can like hear and listen to a gajillion things at once, but he gets visually overstimulated, and I can't listen to anything. Like I need one thing to listen to, but I can like have lots of things around me.
Lori was working on your book, and I met Lori when I was 25, which is I've had a bigger half of my life with Lori in my life than without Lori in my life. And she must have assumed you might be a little bit like me because you were recording her book, and she reached out and touched your screen, and she kind of froze and said, "Now I'm remembering when I met Rich." And I touched his screen, and he made a little herfumping noise and pulled out a little cleaning kit and sprayed the screen and wiped it off. And I 100% did that. I used to keep a kit on my desk that if anybody put their fingers anywhere near my screen, I would stop what I was doing, pull out the cleaning kit, and spray the screen and wipe it down. Now, that fits into a number of things. I have considered, when the kids are playing on their phones, taking them away from them and keeping them overnight as a punishment, only so that I could take them to the store and get the screen replaced. I would never actually take somebody's stuff away from them, but I see the kids, I'm like, you need to get that screen fixed. You need to get that screen fixed. I had digital cameras earlier in life that should have been perfectly good to use, but they had a bit of crack in the viewer screen. I cannot handle. There was a moment when I was at Father Scoland that my windshield flew up, my hood flew up and hit the windshield while I was driving, and it cracked the windshield, and the crack went below one eye and above the other, and that almost killed me. But like the visual noise I get from
things flashing in your peripheral,
fingers in my face,
yeah,
like my teeth come out. You put your finger in my face to show me something. Like, get your finger out of my face. And then, but I also noticed that like even with kids that have like changed their names and their identities, and it really matters to them that they're called by their new name. When I'm taking attendance, for instance, I can't see a name written down wrong and correct it. I can only I can't look to the written word and then say the proper word. I can't replace. My eyes overpower my eyes 100% overpower the rest of my brain, and will read the name I'm looking at on the screen. So then I sometimes say to them, you can get permission for them to get this changed. Should be less traumatic for both of us. But I can't unsee a thing. And hands in my face is like, I'd rather you hit me than put your finger in my face. Is that weird?
No.
It also fits with what I wrote about wrestling in my book, about how you don't actually see so much as you kind of feel everything in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how's that going with Lorraine?
The book?
Yeah,
I think she likes it. I
liked it. I
think
liked it for what that opinion is worth.
Thank you.
It's worth a lot, Theo.
Well, so I think she's grown to trust me so much that she gave me the task of writing this book, and then was quite busy, and then I finished it, and she sent me the contract, and I was like, "Who'd you like better, Todd or Eugene?" And she's like, "I'll just need another day to finish it." So I'm appreciative that she trusts me enough to publish without I actually reading the book, but I was like, I ain't signing nothing until you see the whole thing.
We tried.
And then when she finished it, she said she really loved it. So that's good. But with this particular book, I think because my last book, I hadn't intended on publishing it. So when I wrote The River Troll, I sent a sample copy to Lori, and she was intrigued, but it wasn't what she was doing that year. So I felt no pressure. And I just, as I wrote chapters, I uploaded them to my social media. And I was able to glean some very instantaneous feedback about the book, which was amazing. In this case, because it was assignment, like Lori said, I'd like you to do this book. I've been a little more cautious about not just blurting it all over the social media.
Yep.
Because of that, I had to be very selective about who I shared the book with to start. And the people I sent it to were a little busy and slow to get back to me. So I didn't know you wanted to read it, and I appreciate you reading it. You read it right away and got right back to me, and about 6 people got back to me in the same hour.
Is that right?
Yeah. And so I was like a little overwhelmed that everybody finished it once, and everybody finished about 2 weeks after I really needed it. Scott's here.
Hi, Scott.
Let's do a slightly different configuration. Let's do a this.
So I have nothing creative to do today, so I'm just going to be lecherous for a little while here.
Running commentary, we love it.
That's awesome too.
Actually, even just turning the camera on was creative, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Oh, Jesse doesn't like that.
No, it's fine. No, it's more when I'm trying to wipe something up and I just keep like wiping, you know, those blue little nodules?
Yeah.
Like I keep wiping the blue nodules all over the place.
Yeah, they just keep growing. Oh, look at that.
Look
I
at
was wiping and I spilled the jar. So, Scott, we were just at the camera store. They have this event where people from Georgia came to look at to share cameras, and I think in some cases they're buying them and selling them. So
Oh, okay. Oh, it was a KMH buying thing.
Is that how you say it? KEH?
KEH, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's where I got my camera from.
Oh, you got a camera, Rich?
I got it from them.
Oh, I didn't realize you'd gotten a camera. Congratulations.
You're mocking me. Listen, what I'm saying is that I had them put it in the mail, and it got here a couple of days before they did. They could have just said, "Hey, we'll be in Calgary in 2 weeks. Why don't we save the postage?" I guess
There
they don't
you
work
go.
that way. Also, a fella that I call my husband-in-law was there. So
Your husband-in-law.
I know it's complicated. So what happened is my son, Felix's mother, biological mother, has a new partner, and they have kids, and they're quite happy. And I quite like the company of my ex-wife's husband. So as weird as that sounds, and she's scolded me a few times, like, you can't have Colin as your friend. He's mine. And
I love it.
I am a little greedy that way, that I want everybody as a friend, but Colin's pretty wonderful. He's also my son's stepdad, so I have great affinity for. I always tell the kids at my school, you need to take care of your step parents. And when they're talking about their step parents, I'm always like quite judgmental of like, there's a big difference. Like your kid could be a murderer and you still like them. But if it's a step kid, you gotta like earn that relationship. And then stepmoms and stepdads, I think, are the most sacred souls. I mean, unless it's like the books where they're feeding you to a witch in the oven, for sure, that's a little different.
Yeah, the evil stepmothers always
right. But I think
do it a little bad
to make nice.
Eat the apple.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so we ran into Colin while he was trading some stuff in. And then that was pretty fun. I was there picking up the tools I need for the early stages of my film to negative development.
I love it. I love it.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Jesse was being a little bit negative about me spending money today.
Negative? Ha ha ha. That's funny.
Affirmative. But
Well, I'll rummage through my tickle trunk and see what I have, because I have a whole bunch of that stuff, and I don't know if I'm going to get back into developing.
I just got it. I just got it all. Everything I need. Unless you have some glass, I might at some point get. I got one measuring. What's it called? Graduated cylinder. I sort of feel like 3 might have been the magic number, but I got 1.
Well, 3 is the magic number.
And then I also, I want to get the jars for my leftover chemicals to go into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think black jars are the ticket. I don't know if they're necessary, but it makes sense to me. If they were black, they'd be better. And then I got the heater that I needed, which I felt like the kits downplayed the most, and it seemed to me like it was the most important part. But maybe the salespeople and the kit people sell you the kit, and the next day you realize you need a heater to heat the. I mean, there's a kit that had a thermometer in it, but didn't have the heater. I'm like, well, where's the heater? And it was one of those, like with art, you get these kits that have like 100 items, but only like 23 of them are useful, and the rest are just filler. And then you spend the rest of your life, the kids coming after Christmas, they get the art set, and they come up and they're like, I got this in my art set. What does it do? I'm like, that fills the quota of having 100 pieces to the art set. That's a rolled piece of paper that they think an art.
It's exactly like in the advertisements in the comic books where you can get the 505-piece fishing set for $11.98. 450 of those pieces are hooks.
What?
Hooks.
Right.
Hooks.
Right.
So, So,
what are the other pieces?
oh, you get a rod, you get some you get some line, you get some worms, you get little all this sort of stuff, but
I get
98% of it is just hooks.
Can I ask you, of the comic book page of like Wonderfuls, how many of those things have you actually ordered?
None.
I'm pretty sure I ordered something. I know it wasn't. I know I wanted the see-through glasses because I was a pervert.
Oh, the X-ray glasses? Yes, 100%.
I wanted them, but I was also way too respectful to order them. I also knew I would use them, so there's layers of like. But I remember I jonesed after the X-ray vision glasses because I just was wired that way. And then there was something I actually ordered. I wonder what else was on that page. My cousins ordered the sea monkeys, which are just a bug that grow into bugs and then fly away in your house.
No.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Those are the best ones.
I know I really wanted the Charles Atlas exercise routine, but I think I just watched Ed Allen and kind of got that. Actually, to tell you the truth, my publisher, Lori Sheba, little known fact, used to be one of the ladies that danced behind Charlene Prickett. So if you remember, Charlene Prickett had 2 dancers behind her exercising. Lori had the role of extra, and the other person had the role of less. So whatever Charlene Prickett was doing for exercise on the 2 and 7 exercise show, Lori Sheba was the standing behind her, like the extra version for extra sport.
All right. So as much as Charlene Prickett was a homegrown gal and all that sort of stuff, as a teenager with raging hormones, she held nothing to the 20-minute workout. I'm sorry. It was the 80s. It was the 80s, right?
Because you weren't paying attention to Lori standing behind her.
No, I wasn't.
You should 20-minute workout.
There you go.
Where was that?
That was like on early in the morning. It was like
hey, you're not remembering this correctly. It's nope.
Maybe it's changed.
You have an estranged memory of the 20-minute workout, because if you look it up, you'll be like, oh, That's not how I remember it.
And I'm okay living in my little fantasy world, some decades later. Right? I do not, I repeat, do not need to sully those memories.
Right.
Good
Gotcha.
call. There you go.
Some things are best left unchanged. Rick.
Exactly.
Can I tell you also, though, that my entire world's a lot uglier since I met Jessica? Like, literally all the things I thought that were beautiful pale in comparison.
That's just because she's always touching your screen. That's all.
No, that's the part I don't like.
Oh, what? You're a screen toucher? Yes. Holy Hannah.
When you're painting, too,
Wow.
Were you sitting up?
Well, I
didn't
didn't
know.
know the sheen's kind of worn off you.
Oh, space up here.
Because, sorry, I crunched over.
Wow.
Screen space is expensive, Jesse. Every picture's worth $1 million.
See, no one's perfect, Scott, hey?
Scott,
You were right there until.
let's do a high five, Scott. See if you can high five me.
Oh, I gotta go. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Oh God, do not stick with my screen. Oh my.
Well, I was just saying, when I met Lori when I was 25, she was helping me. I was doing some work for her. She pointed at my screen and her finger touched the screen. I used to have a little squirt bottle. And I would go and then write. And it was my way of saying, please don't touch my screen. But it really had a lot more to do with just the fingers getting in my way. With somebody's hands, like Jess also points when I'm driving, like go that way, and it's like I will see the movement on the right side of my body and turn the car towards the right. Doesn't matter which, and she doesn't stick her finger in my line of sight. She just moves on that side of the car, so I'm always getting the wrong message. And I'm like, please don't point, which isn't really fair because I'm not good with my left and right either. Pointing is really like a road hazard if you don't want me to flip the car.
Yeah, sometimes. So Scott K says we can work at a time. Almost prepared. We'll keep in touch. I ordered the walkie-talkies. What I received were 2 metal soup cans with a string between the tin cans.
Okay. That sounds like something I would have suggested, so I'm going to go with it. For a second there, I was going to say, I think I missed part of that story, but...
Because you guys were saying what you ordered and what you got.
Oh, the walkie-talkies. I thought he was talking about because his apartment's not too far across. We could probably string up a string.
Yeah. Just have a really long...
Teresa, my eldest daughter, lived in the building on the other side of the track, so we could flicker lights at each other. That was pretty fun. Yeah, so I have a simple pack of the Ilford chemicals I need that are already pre-measured, which almost cost as much as taking them to London Drugs. But once I sort of get the hang of it, then I can save money by I'll be spending almost a tenth of my money. Instead of $20 for having my film turn to negatives, it'll be $2.
Well, and the other part is it feeds it'll nicely feed your God complex because you will be creating this, not somebody else.
That is
so true. You'll be able to look and go, I did
that. We have a very good scanner that can scan negatives.
Yes.
And we have a decent enough printer that we could scan and print from home. I am very slowly, don't freak out, till next year, thinking of getting an enlarger and a little and building into enlarging and printing, but I think I'm at least summer away from that. Right now, all I want to do is turn my film into negatives independently. I don't know that I'll end up being in a position to do a better job of that than I would have done at the lab. And when I start enlarging and printing, I'm sure I will do a worse job of that. And what I find is interesting is every time I change a lens or a camera, I find I'm using the camera differently. We talked about this earlier. I'm also coming up with the new lists of favorite artists. Because where I used to love Ansel Adams and Diane Arbus, when I started using the half-frame camera, my mind shifted to storytelling. And I really like how it puts things out in panels of 2 And when I put them into my book, I end up with pages of 16. So I really have narratives happening with my my Pentax 17 and the half film. With the Leica, it's totally different. Now I'm starting to think about depth. I've always thought about composition. I'm interested in like when I stopped and I looked at it, I actually don't like Diane Arbus's photos, and I started like scrolling through, and I like using the process where like if I like this and this, what else might I like? And then I go, but I don't like this, but I do like this. So I like that about the early days of MP3s. You know, if I like the Smiths, what might I like? And you get this feedback. I don't like posing people for portraits. I don't like setting up scenes. I think my thought of photography is I might have to sit and put up still lifes drives me nuts. What I do like is a documentary style of catching moments and holding on to them. I do like more the idea of being, and it's so interesting that as I went through the photos that I liked and started tracking down the camera that I wanted, I ended up getting the Rockstar camera that was like, this one guy used to keep 4M4s strapped to his body. He'd go into the back room after a Rolling Stones show, and he would take pictures of candid moments. He's tracking what's happening. He's not stand here, put the scarf over your face, put the light over here. I have no interest in that. Although I did use the AI to ask. I said, these are the photographers I like. Can you give me 10 assignments? And one of the assignments is to take a person I admire, which is the custodian at my school, and ask them if you can do a portrait of them in their natural environment. So I'm going to bring my camera in, hang it under my sleeve, and wait until I get Dawn in the right light. And I'm going to take my first portrait ever of Dawn doing a task. I'm probably never going to get there early enough to get him shoveling, but maybe like I think with the mop. Now this is actually interesting because when I said that, it turns out, by the way, my custodian at school isn't just one of the best guys in the world. He's also a world-class photographer, only he won't admit it. So he's a very humble man. He takes incredible photography, mostly hiking bird nature photography. But he's been kind of like one of the people I talked about photos for the last 2 years. And so I want to take his portrait, and so he's agreed to do that with me. This is amazing. But, yeah.
I'm really having fun.
Yeah, I know. And then, but yeah, like I find that, okay, so when I first put the long lens on my camera, I thought, oh, now my camera's binoculars. I need to take pictures of things way far away. And so I can understand why if I wanted to get that falcon that's by the river, I would take my long lens to the overpass nearby, get up at eye level and take that photo, and it would look like I was closer up. I happen to live in a high rise, so I thought, oh, I can take some cool street shots of this. And I'm sitting here with a long lens, lining it up on a fire hydrant 15 stories down, thinking, this is really stupid because I'm going to take a picture and it's going to look like I was on the ground taking it. Like I'm 15 stories up, but I'm using a long lens. It completely defeats the purpose. And then
the beautiful part about the long lens is it compresses everything, right? So
yeah,
if all the different layers look so much closer together.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
And actually, I like the idea of the long lens for portraits. So there might be one last lens in my life, but we have a long lens on the Spotmatic, which I'm playing with now while I'm waiting for my camera to get fixed and tidied up, not fixed, not broken. But yeah, so I have a brand new list of brand new favorite photographers, and I actually have a deeper understanding why some photographers that I wanted to like kind of turned me off, right? Like Pink Floyd. Like I know I should like Pink Floyd, and I'm told I should like Oasis, but I just don't, you know? And I don't hate Pink Floyd. I just don't like it. I'm not like, I never have the urge to put Pink Floyd on. And I know that means I'm probably not musically sophisticated. But that said, I'm very excited about how the world seems so different to me. I also realized I misnamed my camera because I like the name Johnny on the Spot, but I think that's actually the proper name for my Pentax 17, which I will use to tell stories and is easy to go. I think my superpower name for my new camera, like if Clark Kent and Superman were one, the action version of my camera I'm going to call Truth Slayer, which is a bit like Felix will love that name.
I was going to say it's inspired by.
But as far as having a name, I think I'm going to name my new camera Nelson.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is Johnny
Nelson
Spot still going to be Johnny on the Spot?
The Pentax 17, that's my half frame camera, that's an easy access, easy to shoot automatic camera that I use for telling stories, actually suits the name Johnny on the Spot much better.
Well, what's Johnny on the Spot right now?
Johnny on the Spot is at the Pentax factory getting a lever replaced.
Well, what are you going to do if Johnny on the Spot doesn't like having another name?
Oh, Johnny on the Spot didn't even have a name.
Oh.
It wasn't until I got the Leica I started naming cameras. But then we went to Scott's house to show Scott the camera, and Scott's like, "Does this camera have a name?" It's like, coincidentally, it does.
Well, I was just concerned because Johnny on the Spot, might decide, well, I'm never going to work for you again. You changed my name.
Johnny on the Spot didn't have a name.
Okay.
And other than this broadcast, Johnny on the Spot's not around to know that I inadvertently named Nelson Johnny on the Spot.
Yeah. Are you sure? It might be watching YouTube right now.
Johnny on the Spot is in a box in a lab right now.
How can you prove that?
Because I broke it and I sent it away.
Do you know the lives of inanimate objects when there's nobody around? Come on.
I'm counting on
Toy Story.
I've seen Toy Story.
I'm counting on the Truth Slayer to solve all the problems.
Which Tom Robbins book was that? The soup can. And like two of the side characters, like the side story was there's a soup can and a spoon, I think, and they had this epic adventure.
Oh, that's isn't that Jeepers?
Another roadside attraction?
No.
In Frog's Pajamas?
I think it's in Frog's Pajamas, yes.
So yeah, Frog's Pajamas. That was a good memory triggered. The objects.
Yeah.
That was the reason I got this tattoo of the Nomo. That's the book I started learning about the Nomo from the Dogon tribe in Mali. They're half fish, half people that came down on a star, and they had the same, very same creation story, like Jesus story, resurrection story, as the Catholics did, except they're amphibious. But I really liked that. The idea that we just have different words for the same story across the world.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
So I often think about how they are described as amphibious, but they might have been just like shimmering.
Or also, like, we're amphibious. We are raised.
No, but what I mean is, like,
water
let's
in the
say they
uterus.
came from another planet
Yeah,
and
totally.
they were
Shimmering.
shiny,
I like
and
that.
then or even what if they had like visible souls or something? Like,
Oh.
you might describe them as amphibious just because you didn't have a way of saying iridescent.
I love that. Yeah, right. 'cause
Kind
it's
of like the
all
rhino
translated.
and the water horse and the unicorn, right? Like, it might be just a language situation where they didn't have the whole words to tell the story.
Right. Totally.
But I definitely picked up a handful of new favorite photographers, including Scott, by the way.
Scott, apparently ChatGPT recommended you. That's
No,
impressive.
I met Scott because he took photos at the TEDx event. It is an interesting question, though. When will ChatGPT start to recognize Scott as one of the greatest photographers?
Yeah, we know AI will have gone too far when that happens.
I have tested AI in a lot of different ways. One of the ways I wanted to test it was to see if it could make an image of me. And I am not, as of the last time I tested, I was not famous enough to become something in the public sphere. Meaning, like, apparently you can make photos of Tom Cruise and he won't sue you as much as he'd love to, because his persona has become public enough that he's not guarded, right? You can have AI make an image of Ava Gardner because her timeline is expired, right? But if I said, can you find a picture of Rich Teru with the Chat GPT, it would say, I can. Like, can you make me a painting of Rich Teru on a motorcycle? It would start to make it, and then it would stop and insist that's not okay. Now, that was me a year or two ago when I was exploring for the sake of Lori's book. Today, in computer class, one of my kids spent most of the class making pictures of me in furry outfits based on ChatGPT's perception of me as a public figure. So apparently I've crossed that threshold in the last year into unprotected. And yeah, there was like all these, I was like, there's a picture of me. I was like, I recognize that face. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
And all the kids are like, he won't stop. Can you make him stop? And he spent hours making funny pictures of me as a princess and really pushing the boundaries. It didn't bother. I was actually quite flattered. He didn't know that, but I was. Like, my ego was like, yes, more about Rich. I would never complain, but it was shocking to me that I'd crossed into that area where
right, he thought he was being silly, but you're like, oh, that's really interesting.
Well, part of me is like, oh, I'm in a new level right now.
Stroke my ego.
Yeah, well, and it was quite sweet that I was very nervous about dropping my camera off. I don't feel worthy to own the camera that I have, and there's, like I said, at the camera store, they're kind of like, like when you buy it's not $20,000 camera, but when you buy a $20,000 bicycle and you just ride it to the coffee shop, like I might be a little overpowered with this camera, especially if there's people that live for photography and they don't own one and they're saving up for one. But I was quite nervous about dropping my camera off at the camera guy, who we will call Gary doesn't work on weekends. And the reason I say that is I asked around for advice on where to take the camera, and several people described the fella that fixing up the aperture on my camera as, oh, Gary something, he doesn't work weekends.
He has good personal boundaries.
No, it's good. I adore that. Yeah, that is not totally a criticism. But then I was quite nervous about, like, will I be judged coming in with this camera that's so far out of my skill ability? And it turns out that they knew us from the Rumble.
Because his wife works at the Blue Rock Gallery in Black Diamond.
And we did a book signing.
And we did a book signing and stuff. So
we were very,
I love it.
Received.
Yeah. So he was very nice. And also just left being like, everyone should be having those boundaries, because he was really happy. Like, I need to work on my personal boundaries.
No, but our boundaries really came from people expecting us to be there in the middle of the day to drop off $25 paintings, right? And it's like, we can't quit work to come meet you. But I can't get there any other way. I'm like, you're going to have to find a way to get here when I'm here, because I'm not driving from Cochrane to pick up your painting, and I'm not dropping it off for you.
Yeah, that was really, that was a life.
So I did appreciate his boundary there.
Yeah.
But I did sort of also feel like a complete fraud with my camera. I have imposter syndrome with my camera.
But he really did.
Well, I'm not ashamed of owning it. I just, don't want to deal with other photographers about if they're going to judge me. Like, I know I have to grow into this camera. I didn't buy it thinking it would make me a better photographer. I bought it thinking I want to grow into the photographer that drives this camera.
I like that.
And again, like, my interest in that camera kind of kept coming back to the people that tended to use it were using it in a way that makes a lot of sense to me.
also that's kind of how you always work. Remember, we're talking about like, what don't I have any right to
Any
be
facility
to
in,
be
yeah.
doing this? So like,
Yeah, that's how we opened the art gallery. That's how I ended up giving the TED talk. There's a lot of things that attach to.
what do I have no right to do? This. I'm going to try it.
I have no right to stick my nose in this. And then I'm going to stick it so deep in that it doesn't come out clean.
Well, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Like, I mean, it's you get the yokels who don't realize that they're idiots, and they go out and they buy one of these cameras and they think, oh, this is great, blah blah blah. I'm going to make me a great photographer. And you get an artist who gets one of these cameras and says, yeah, you know what? I'm a good artist, but this is way outside of my league. I know all this shit I don't know about cameras, but I'm still gonna do it. So
yeah, totally.
And I was also in hyperfixation mode, so I started deleting the research that I had collected while I was choosing a camera, and it looks like over the strike I probably spent around 60 hours obsessing about which camera I should get. And it started
okay. Obsessing or researching fully so that you got the right thing for you.
Both of those things were one empowered by the other.
I'm trying to help you out here, Rich.
You're such a good friend.
But also
just thoroughly researching.
No, but overly no. There was a point when I realized I am what's the word for it when I'm hyperfixated on this. Like there was a point where I was like, not having this camera is starting to cause damage to me. Like it's starting to interfere with my life, and it's not healthy. I'm in an unhealthy loop, and I need to break this loop. And I'm going to get this camera in my lifetime. And if I don't buy it now, which is a terrible time for me to buy it because we're on strike and living off no money, but if I don't buy it now and it goes missing,
right, I'm gonna do a
I will be devastated trying to wait for it to appear again. So that doesn't stain.
Do you have a wipe?
Yeah, but that doesn't stain.
Okay.
All right, kids, I need to roll.
Okay.
It was very nice.
Thank you for the invite.
Good night, Scott.
Good night.
All right. Hey, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hyperfixate. Was I looking for that word? Or did
You said it.
Was that the one I said?
Yep.
Sometimes the words sound differently in my head. I'll say hyperfixate, and I'm like, no, that's not right. It's something else. Like, it's something like hyperfixate, but it's like, oh, if I relax a bit, it'll come into my head, and then I'm like, oh, I know what it was. It was hyperfixate, and maybe I'm just putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. But yeah, it just kind of like rolls back, and I'm like, oh, I remember now. Hyperfixate. This is gonna drip. Oh, paper towels.
Can I help you? I can move it.
I don't think anybody can help me. You could move it.
Oh,
probably not going to help me. Here, take it. Just watch it rolls inward, not outward. That's the spot that I want to drip down. I'm feeling quite comfortable. I was a little distracted earlier and kind of didn't feel like doing this right.
I just look at it like it's very nice to be making art with you.
No, I know. Like there was something about tonight where I kind of felt like I guess because we've been quite busy, right? We're currently trying to decide if we're going to be able to go to the heebie-jeebies this year.
Is that a band?
Yeah, a cappella.
Acapella group.
Ah,
They always,
where?
at the Bella Concert Hall, they always have a Christmas
Oh,
concert.
sweet. Why wouldn't you want to go to that? Or why would you have to think about not going to it?
Well, we did go on teacher strike this year.
Yeah.
It's been overspending on the analog.
On the hyperfixation.
Yeah.
Ah.
And we also got tickets to the Christmas Carol, which is our other Christmas ritual.
Right.
Oh, it's hard. It is hard to decide.
A lot of interesting things happening in the news.
Gosh, for a tiny brush, this really soaked up the paint. It's still, we've just been wiping this paint for decades.
I don't think that's true. Let's see what Truth Slayer says.
I don't think that's true. I don't know about this.
You can be.
It's probably soaking up a lot of paint.
I'm going to use it.
Yeah?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. So much soaking up.
I hope I was polite. Did I overtalk when Scott was here? Sometimes I overspeak.
No. You get excited. It's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone we know gets excited about stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Kevin at work.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was talking about how he when he got the we take Kevin on a holiday with us because he's got this heart machine, and that with the heart machine I've got about 15 minutes to reboot him if his machine goes down. So that's why we take him on holidays, because he can't really travel by himself. And then when he ended up with the machine, it meant he had to carry this bag. He's got a bag that carries a
The pump that is attached to his heart.
Yeah, and that pump is about the size of 2 Game Boys, but about 4 times as heavy. So he's got a very substantial bionic machine that makes sure that the medication he needs gets into his heart properly. And I was worried he'd feel a little subconscious about having to wear the pump. So he suggested he was going to wear a blazer to cover it. And I gave him my man bag. And then to kind of ease and create the normalcy around it, while he was still in the hospital, I convinced Stevens and a couple other people at work to start wearing blazers and satchels. What is that? What it's called? Like a little man bag?
Yeah, a little.
And comes into work one day, and I'm still wearing my man bag and my blazer, and he's like, "Did you steal my look?" I'm like, "Come on, man! Like, I've been wearing this nonstop for weeks." I wonder if that's him.
Colin.
Oh, okay. And then so today, that's the other thing. I guess like part of the whole look was he was exaggerating his eccentricities, right? With the he started wearing, like, he wears Converse every day. He has a different color pair of Converse shoes every day. And we are a little territorial. Like, I remember when he started wearing Converse, he came in, he's like, "Are you going to be upset if I start wearing Converse?" I'm like, "I actually don't really wear Converse anymore. I do now, but like not the Chucks." But he was afraid he was going to cramp my look. And then he started wearing a lightsaber on his hip. So the new kids at school are like, "Dude, why is the teacher got a lightsaber?" And I'm like, I don't know, he's quirky that way. And they like, one of the kids was really pushing it because they're very fashion conscious. And I was like, okay, let me tell you the truth. The truth is to wear this stupid machine all the time. And I think it's a way of like owning it, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm sorry I made fun. And I was like, you weren't making fun and you're fine. Everything's fine. But that's, I think, why he was interested in having a lightsaber on his hip, right?
Right.
Kevin and I were talking, and I walked away from him because I had to go to the bathroom. So I started walking, and he was still walking, and I thought, well, it's going to be awkward if he follows me into the bathroom. But then, like, as we're walking towards the office, we kept running into people, and he and I kept walking in the same direction. I'm like, I'm just going to let you know right now, I'm going to the bathroom in case we end up going in together. And he's like, no, I got to the washroom too. So we're walking towards the staff room. This is my friend, man. My friend and I are walking towards the staff room. These are the awkward moments that boys have. And we get to the room, and I just clarified, like, I'm not following you to talk to you. I'm also going to the bathroom. We get to the room, and it so happens that one of the two doors is occupied. So I know he's got this machine on him. He's, probably got to do some medication stuff in there as well. I go, oh, you can go first. And he's like, he says really matter of factly, in the driest tone, he's like, no, I got to take my lightsaber off. And it just struck me so funny that, like, that's not a thing you hear at work all the time. Like, no, you go first. I have to take my lightsaber off. And so I didn't want to laugh, but it came out as like an Ernie laugh, like the because I was trying to like restrain it and came out like Ernie. And I did laugh, and I felt bad about it. But then I went in the bathroom, and I started laughing again while I was going to the bathroom. And you're not a boy, so you don't know this, but I was like, at that point, like, I am going to pee everywhere if I don't get this under control. And should I tell the story in public? I can tell the story in public. People have to pee. But I was like really concerned because I was having a hard time maintaining my composure while I was going to the washroom because I was laughing so hard about him saying, and I don't know why it struck me so silly. He's like, no, you go first. I have to take my lightsaber off. It's like, it's pretty funny.
Also, it's like in those moments, like hilarious.
Also, it's really important to take lightsabers off before you go to the bathroom because you might accidentally burn something off that you didn't
Right.
need to.
That is serious.
And there is sort of,
there's no judgment.
There is, whether people want to acknowledge this or not, a little bit of innuendo involved in having a magic sword of light that solves all problems, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
George Lucas wasn't short on ego problems, Probably drives a big truck.
Yeah.
Probably most of the flaws in the Star Wars originated from George Lucas's lack of humility. And I know when I say lack of humility, it sounds funny. People are like, wait, what? You knew about humility? It's like, well, I know about it. I just don't make use of it.
You're hilarious.
There's so many things in my life, though, in my day, that relate to the things that we do, right? And sometimes it's really hard to get through explaining something, because I always make references to other things, without telling stories that, like, when I wrote my TED Talk, there were many things that related to the time that I spent writing my TED Talk, right? And so it's a little bit like you have a friend that comes back from Britain. They're like, when I was on the tube, if you say tube one more time in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to know you're doing it on purpose because nobody says tube that many times. And you know what I mean? Like I might mention the LRT once in a while, but it's not going to come up 10 times with everything I say. If you're going out of your way to tell me that you have to jump on a lorry, it's because when I was in Vietnam, Okay, well, that painting sucks. I'm not going to call it a painting. I'm going to call it a warm up. Just warming up here. Theo, have you ever done any developing?
No, I have never gotten into cameras that way.
Yeah. I was so pleased when digital cameras came out because I could suddenly afford to shoot to my heart's content. And now I think I've grown to dislike digital photography because I could shoot to my heart's content. I think I've crossed over from wanting to be able to take unlimited shots so that I could improve my composition to very much wanting to take very limited shots. And the more limited, the more exciting it is to me.
Yeah, that's logical. You know, I know Ingrid. That was one of the reasons she really liked the iPhone when it came out, because she could do all kinds of silliness and not have to worry about buying film. Because at that time she was still all of her jobs were film based.
Yeah.
Of course, she eventually had to follow the 21st century and went digital as well there, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm really so grateful to not have to do that or worry about it. I don't have to meet any expectations. I just do my thing. It might even become like worth my while that it's so impractical. I could work my way into a niche that somebody wanted me to take photos for them because they wanted photos taken by a novice photographer or something. Like it could be like that's my niche, is like not knowing what I'm doing. But I have no need to impress anybody, and I have no need to achieve anything. So that's where the true freedom comes from.
Yep. The nice thing about digital is it's an much more inexpensive way to develop an eye. You know, so that when you instantly know when you've nailed a good shot or not.
I used to shoot Super 8 when I was a kid.
Yep.
Again, with the storytelling, I was interested in the storytelling. When the video cameras became sort of available, I was so crazed to get my hand on a video camera so that I could shoot never-ending and, you know, not be restricted by time and cost.
Yep.
And I literally felt like I would kill to get my hands on a video camera. I think I got my first video camera that I could sort of tinker with around 1994. And I started making movies with Robin when she was like 2 and 3. I made a rhyming film of dragon story. Might have been Rapunzel or something. I can't remember. And I would just feed her one line at a time and then edit it together.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually on my Mac 8600. So that was like early days of video when I had a little bit of video editing capabilities. And then over the years, I think I got a number of digital cameras. And then when we moved to shooting the wedding, I got very interested in instant cameras. I lost interest in my digital camera. I had a Nikon that I think I gave it away. And now I'm just so crazy for film. I don't even want my film to touch digital, right? So I'd like to be separate from digital. And then I found my friend Pat Deddy has been shooting some film, and he said, do you share it on social media anywhere? And I said, well, really, I don't even like my the idea of digitizing it. So it's something I really like to keep separate from the computers. And I think there might even be a little too much digitizing happening at London Drug. So I'm trying to work my way back to completely analog. Half of that step, though, will be to half that journey is going to be using digital at home, because we're going to be using our own scanner and our own printer, which is a temporary step backwards.
Kind of scanner do you have?
One specifically for it's a flatbed scanner, but it's got a special adaptation for negatives.
Yep. Yeah, I got like that on mine.
We got that because Jess was shooting with. Did you just ask me something?
The Gorilla Girls are going to be at the Getty.
Nice.
Sorry.
You know who else is going to be at the Getty? This guy. When are they going to be there?
April.
The artwork or the actual artists?
The artwork. It's like kind of like it's called How to Be a Gorilla Girl, and it's like their history.
You could teach a lesson on how to be a gorilla girl.
Sorry, you were talking, and I
wasn't saying
rude.
anything important at all. Just babbling.
You were talking about
my journey from photography. I find I don't want anything digital.
Oh, we were talking about the scanner.
Yeah.
Oh, because I got the
I don't mind this
sprocket rocket.
Oh yeah, we got the sprocket
And
rocket because we were gonna. Jessie wanted to show her sprockets because she's got this plastic camera, but it takes pictures that go right up onto the sprockets. And we really liked how that looked, but every time we got the film developed, they would crop them
because
no matter how many times we asked them to stop.
Oh,
yeah.
They could not stop from cropping.
They could not.
They were crop addicted.
They just had the one size scanner, I think. So we have like the different, like the open sizes, and then we just fudged with it. And then you have your Photoshop skills that you're able to like help crop it to what I wanted it.
Right. That's actually a factor that because I used Photoshop for, I'm going to say 30 years or more, your interest in the red film is way higher than my interest in the red film, right? Like you take photos on the red film, it comes back red.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been dealing with the red images or the blue. That's like
filters.
A toggle.
Yeah.
That I've been doing.
Right. That's funny.
And it's the filter that I'm least interested in, but it's been an option for me to change the vibrance or the hue of my images for 30 years. What I love is trying to get in my camera with the proper Kodak Gold, the look of a film that was shot when John Lennon was alive. Like I love that feeling of like a lot of what I'm shooting in my camera is not too different from what people pay to have filters or not pay even, but like when you're
like using
somebody puts their picture in social media and
yeah.
the kids would say no filter. What they meant is stop trying to make your photos using app to make it look like it came out of 1950s Lycra.
Yeah.
Like it. So I quite love the film effects, the authentic film effects. And I'm quite leaning away from the lomography film does that extra pizzazz of turning everything red. And I'm not judging you at all for being interested in that.
It makes sense
sure,
why I would be interested, because I've never played with Photoshop. So that as soon as you said that, I was like, that totally makes sense.
Well, and Mark, I think, would similarly like that film, because like Mark was sort of dabbling with animation in a way that was like how can I word this? He was coming at animation from a very raw perspective.
Right.
Where he was taking a digital photo of himself after every few paint strokes, which is like...
like stop motion.
Yeah, but you could have easily automated that.
Oh.
Right? Like, because what he ended up with was a... he ended up with a... there's a filter on your phone for that. It's a simple word. What am I forgetting?
Like
time lapse.
Oh, time lapse.
He did a manual time lapse with a camera and then digitized it, which is interesting, but like, why he wouldn't have just time lapsed it while he was painting was like a mystery to me. And it was the process that he was interested in, right? Not the product,
right?
Which is fine, but it seemed like, wow, that's a magnificent amount of work that you did to shoot it that way. And I'm sure that was part of his process, but I was like mystified.
Stupefied. Anesthetized.
Yeah. 812. Theo, have you ever been in our house?
Nope. No, you guys hate me. You never invite me over. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I just assume you're always over because we're always having Wednesday nights together.
Don't say that. That doesn't make him want to come back more. It'll make him Theo, would you like to come to dinner with us sometime?
Sure. That would be fun.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
Definitely. And just so you know, I eat everything with gusto. So, you don't have to worry about what you're serving.
That's lovely.
Yeah, and that would be like a caveat because we serve weird food. Almost all the food
weird.
Almost all the food that Jesse and I eat now is food that we invented ourselves. And it won't poison you with a keto diet, but it is definitely like very healthy for you.
That's okay. I like I say, all food is good food.
Jesse made pie for her brother. He's like, "Oh, this is good." And then he said, "Tastes really healthy." like it wasn't as fun for him with his metabolism to enjoy food that isn't a direct challenge to his metabolism and his nervous system. It wasn't negative in any way. It was just like, I can live off potato chips and still be chiseled with these cheekbones.
Jason.
I don't mean that in a negative way.
No, I know.
Yeah.
We got Jack Pike. Jack Pike's on.
Jessie was of the ilk that she could live off of potato chips and still have a ripped set of abs and perfect cheekbones. And then right after we got married, we ended up in a magazine, Avenue Magazine. I was like, "Here, where'd they send a fold of the magazine?" She's like, "Yeah."
That's nice.
Our friend went and got it framed for us on like probably $1,000 frame. And I'm like, "No, it's framed." She's like, "Eh." And then like we went away to our honeymoon and came back. And as I was hanging it, she kind of went, and I was like, "Okay, there's something you're not telling me about this picture." And I think it's kind of a big deal where we got married and we ended up in 2 magazines. And she's like, "Well, my face is puffy." And I looked, I'm like, "There's no, a little bit, but that happens when you get older." She's like, "Nope." And so that's part of the reason why we quit drinking and eating better is it turns out in that moment after I married her, Jesse said, "Well, I'm vain." I'm like, "No, I actually thought you were the opposite of vain. I was always amazed you didn't have like an Instagram account where you're taking pictures of yourself doing selfies and stuff.
I'm not like that.
You're not, but like you did
No
care.
judgment to people who take.
You
selfies.
did care enough about being pretty that you were able to give up drinking, which was your.
That's actually super intense.
Which I
That's
thought.
way more vain than taking pictures of yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I thought drinking was your first love, and I
Yeah,
might.
why did you join AA? Well, I want to look pretty.
I just wanted those cheekbones back. I don't know.
Here's something I'm sure of, and this is not a knock to anybody that's made use of AA, but AA would not work for me. I would every time I went to AA, I would leave wanting to get drunker, and I would develop.
You do what you want to do, what you're told not
I
to.
hate being told what to do, and I know that AA is quite stringent, and I don't believe everything. For me, I don't believe everything about AA. For you, if it works for you, all the power to you. I don't think I'd have a problem just having a drink every now and then. Of course, that's what I'm going to tell myself when. But for Jessie's sake, she can't have like a drink and then not have a drink. So I don't like push that envelope. But I think if I needed to, I could break my own arm. You know, I would have no problem snapping my own arm if it was necessary. And I also think like after when I say, okay, it's time to stop. Right, I can stop, which means I'm probably not really an alcoholic, except from.
You're just a very supportive husband and
Well,
father.
There's a couple things, you know, like I don't want to stop, and I often feel like willing to trade my family or, you know, my magic bag of beans for another drink, but I can make myself do anything.
Right.
And so, just maybe sometimes when I'm talking about my sobriety. It's a little unfair if there's people that are really struggling and I'm talking about my sobriety and it's like, no, I could probably start drinking and stop again, just like that. But I also sort of feel like when I have to have a non-alcoholic drink, I would actually be more comfortable if they just called it an alcoholic drink. Maybe the non-alcoholic drink is the one that doesn't have the booze. I'm drinking this because I'm an alcoholic. Let's just call it what it is, you know? Am I an alcoholic?
I don't know. There is one line in Annie DeFranco song that I really liked about an alcoholic's always an alcoholic, even if they're dry as my lips for years, even if they're stranded on a far something island with no place in 300 miles to get beers.
I don't know.
And I wonder.
I remember I suffered when I quit drinking.
Is he different? Has he changed what he's about? Or
Did
is he
you
just a
suffer?
liar with nothing to lie about?
See, I feel like
Isn't that
maybe
interesting?
you suffered more than
I just
did.
like the lines from that. I probably.
Which one of us suffered more when we quit drinking? Did I suffer more than you did?
I don't know. You don't talk about your suffering.
I know. Hey, say that again.
You don't talk about your
I
suffering.
try not to.
I'm very open about my suffering.
We both experience your suffering.
I'm sorry. I'm very
100% we both experience your suffering.
very open.
Even
about
just
my-
simple things like winter or fall or
any change of
not a perfect day in
temperature at
summer.
all.
We suffer, yeah.
Like just
together.
minor temperature shift.
And there are days where like the first day of the teacher strike, I was like, okay, it's going to cost us this much money and we're not going to make any there will be no improvement after the strike, but I can get through this as long as I treat this time as sacred time for me to recover and grow. As long as I stay clear in mind and use this time to get through the rest of the year,
Yeah.
it's not a complete loss. And so there it was the first day of the strike, and you started like using the dragon voice over the weather, and I'm like, no, like we can spend $300 on tights, or we can go to Mac. We can get whatever you need to get through this without using that voice for the weather, because I can't fix the weather, and I don't have space right now. In where's something sharp? Do you have the letter opener?
Over here.
Hey, speaking of changing the subject, which I am, when I was coming home today, I heard that our glorious government invoked the notwithstanding clause again.
Again, yeah. And I'm even curious about how, like, I don't fully No, is it about, like, I know it has to do with trans rights, but what was, like, I don't fully understand, I think, the notwithstanding clause. Because what is she
In the
stopping?
1980s.
Yeah.
The
Because
Canadian government.
Yeah.
They're using it to prevent constitutional challenges to their asshole legislation.
Oh, so
Right.
and prematurely, that was the issue. It's like they don't work anything out with people. They just prematurely hit people with this, and then they do what they want. Is that?
Yep, that's pretty much it.
That's all.
Just another reason why I can't ever run into a member of the cabinet or the premier, because I really do think I'd lose it.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. This is.
But
Yeah.
the notwithstanding law is a law that said a government should be able to challenge the courts. That's basically what that was set up to be.
And then, but when you're corrupt,
Now it's a sport.
Yeah, when you're corrupt, you use it to.
It was meant to be the ultimate annihilation button in case of the worst case scenario, and it became like
the worst case scenario.
No, well, it was meant to be like, like nuclear weapons were meant for the absolute last resort. Okay. And then you get like somebody that wants to use nuclear weapons just to see what they look like.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what would it look like if I blew up Argentina or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. And those people are always the ones that get into power because they want power. Right. And then there's these things like these safety things put in place that should be for safety, but then they use them against, and if they use them against teachers and people with like for trans rights, that they're going to use it whenever they want. And it's like, why? Like
they can't overdo it.
They're already overdue. Like they already overdid it.
Talking.
Sorry.
They can't.
Yeah, they're already overdoing it.
Yeah.
And
no, but there's a natural consequence to them using it 5 times a week. Yep. They have already overdone it. I was heading towards that before I was cut off.
I got very excited.
No, it's fine. But I'm saying they have already used it.
Yeah.
They can't use it for ordering pizza, right? Like they're probably pushing the envelope of losing the ability to use it by using it twice in 1 month. But in practice, in reality, there'll be a point where they pushed it too far. It's just like anything else. Like, I'm giving you this freedom, and right now you have this freedom. And if you abuse this freedom, you're going to lose it. And so they're kind of maxing it out right now before they lose it. But it's like you were sort of hyperbolizing when you said they're just going to use it for everything. And they can't. They're not going to use it for bus passes, but they will use it.
They'll use it to prevent challenges to any legislation that they deem fits their ideological mindset,
which is always
that's what they've been doing thus far.
Yeah
And it's totally wrong, and it's
but they'll eventually, I'm not defending them.
It's totally constitutionally challengeable.
Yeah, and it will be challenged, and then they'll lose that power. And or what might happen is when it blows up in their face and it's used against them, they might revoke that power, kind of like the recall vote.
They did the recall vote, yeah.
They'll undo it, but I think right now they might be maximizing, like, okay, once you pull this button and the nuclear war starts, then it's on, so you might as well go full out and get what you can out of it, right?
While you can.
Yeah, I think they might have overextended themselves using it against the teachers, and maybe they're going to put some things in place against the trans kids, which is awful. I think I've been saying for quite some time, and this is a bit of speculation on my part, so I have to be really careful when I say this, but last year in February or March, the Alberta government reduce the rights of teenage trans kids. And they promised to stop some stuff that had never happened. They promised to stop teenage surgeries, which weren't happening. And they reduced a number of things, but what they really stopped was puberty blockers, which is a way to slow down the changes so you can make your decisions when you're older. And what they said was they reduced the puberty blockers so that they could give the people a chance to make decisions when they're older. It's like the opposite of what they said.
Everything they do is
that was like obvious and stupid, and nobody made a fuss about it. And I thought, if there's anybody that's going to make a fuss out of this and stick up for these kids, it'll be the arts community, because we're a community that's always been invested in people's rights and
especially the marginalized
inclusion and differences and so forth. However, I also calculated what I expected the government to save on puberty blockers, and I counted it out 100 different ways. And I basically came to the conclusion it was, I can't remember the exact number, maybe $1.3 million per year over 7 years. 3 weeks after they cut the funding to kids getting these blockers, they donated the same amount to the Arts Commons downtown. And everybody gushed about, I hate the government, but they finally did something for the artists. That's not money for the artists. That's money for the corporations that run events that people that fall asleep at go to. And furthermore, it also sort of kneecapped the artists, saying, I'm against you taking away these kids' rights, because if your biggest challenge is the artist using their voice and you put all that money into arts funding, then the artist nobody said a word about those numbers being almost the same numbers, right? Like, they're which development got it? Do you remember?
It was Arts Commons.
Arts Commons got almost the same amount bonus as they were going to
set big development project.
Right. Now, I also know that the government's more complicated than that they don't just take money out of one account and funnel it into another account. But I did wonder, there's going to be a big surplus of cash if they're not providing kids with the health supports they needed. And almost to the penny, the exact same amount of cash suddenly became available to Arts Commons. And then we're watching these like news reports about our fearless leader being able to acquire the largest amount of grant money ever so that they can rip out the existing art space and put some other thing up in the parking lot. So I'm really skeptical about how that unfolded. I'm not saying any wrongdoing happened, but I also think that nobody questioned it. And even just bringing it up, there was a lot of heat, right? Like if I said out loud, is there a connection between this money and this money? My artist friends are like, what are you doing? This is like, they
never give us money.
They're doing something for us, my friend. Like, what the hell? And I was like, well, I would have thought at the very least, Arts Commons should have created a program where trans youth could get free opera tickets for the rest of their lives, like.
Yeah. But that's that divide. Like
well, it's a different kind of art appreciator that's going to those events. We go to those events. We can't afford it, but we make our way into those events. And sometimes we're in the cheap seats and sometimes we're not getting salary so that we can go to the nice seats. We appreciate dance and theater and we love those things, but it's not the actors that are seeing that money. Mm-hmm. That money goes into builders that are making some new project in the parking lot where we used to have a skating rink, like it's going to be different. I don't know that it's going to be better. And,
but you're right.
It's just super shady how
they intentionally do that. Like
we let those things slide. Right. And, for that purpose, I don't know that there's a lot of monies I wouldn't have accepted without knowing more about where it came from.
That's why we never took grants or anything, because we didn't want to be part of that.
Because I'm holier than thou.
No, it's dirty.
I think it is. I think it's
always dirty.
You're being bought. And then almost every time we dealt with a politician, they would want to know what grants we're receiving. And when I told them I didn't get any grants, they would like, oh, we need to get you on some grants because, well, that's their way of wooing me, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody ever got me on any grants because I wasn't applying, but nobody ever actually followed through on helping me to get grants. because they dangle that carrot, and when they're dangling that carrot and then they screw up your parking, you're just like, oh, I'm not going to upset these people because I might want a grant. And when I started like vocalizing my problems with these people, I remember somebody's like, good luck getting your next grant, asshole. And I was like, well, guess what, buddy? I've never taken a grant.
Yeah.
I've never asked for a grant. I've never wanted a grant. And that's why I have the freedom to speak my mind. And you're absolutely proving my point right now by pointing out the fact that I won't ever get a grant. But I can guarantee you this, I will get 100% of every grant that I apply for, and I will never be rejected. And I can say that as a fact because I won't apply for them. I'm not submissive. But I didn't impress very many of my friends complaining about the Arts Commons getting that money.
Because it's easier to hear and hate on things that you easily hear and hate or disagree with, you know?
Or maybe it was just inherently shameful. It was an inherently shameful discussion that nobody wanted to look at.
Yeah.
Just bouncing up to where we get the likes and the dislikes to see if anything popped up. I remember when we used to run the Rumble House, we were so cautious if somebody like clicked unlike on the feed. It's like, oh, this could end us. Now there's nothing to end. I was like, there's nothing to take away from me.
Freedom.
It's true. What do you think of the new license plate, Theo?
Oh, well, I haven't seen it, so I can't offer us. I can't offer an opinion.
I think
we have new license plates.
I think it says
Marlena wants to have strong and free as a nod to the
Dog whistle?
separatist. Yeah,
separatist dog whistle.
yeah. So
Oh well, you know, that's our government.
yeah, good old Marlena. Why does she get to change her name and these poor kids she doesn't? Like, she's such a hypocrite. Freaking hypocrite.
Well, one thing that I've noticed is that as an artist, I've always thought picking your own name is one of the most powerful moments in your identity.
Totally.
Long before kids were,
choosing their
identity,
or before it came
or challenging their genders. But
yeah.
I would often say to them, no, I am supportive of you choosing your identity. I think it's an essential part of.
Yeah, it's like parents give kids their names when they're babies, and then that idea of identifying who you want to be as you grow up is like pretty powerful. Right.
Now I've met perfectly reasonable people that aren't afraid of what used to be known as, say, like gender dysmorphia, what they would call it, or aren't hung up on those gender rights, that are concerned about a parent's right to name their kids. So I know a perfectly reasonable person whose child is gender fluid, and this person is not bothered by their child's gender, but was deeply wounded at the thought of teachers using a name that wasn't the given name. And I thought that was quite strange, but also I do believe that parents have a right to dictate how their kids should be spoken to and treated, right? Like, I do think that there's a tendency for us as teachers to think we know everything and the best thing for the kids is what we believe. And I think that we fight that.
Or what the kid believes.
Yeah, we fight that. We fight that tendency to say, oh, well, obviously the world would be a better place if everybody did this or that. But I do think we have to fight that. Like, it's a conscious effort to not say this is what's right and wrong, and this should be true. And obviously this government's corrupt and this one's okay. I feel like we do a good job of not pushing those agendas, but I can also understand why the other side is so scared that we're pushing those agendas, because they're quite powerless, right? You're not raising your kids, you're sending them to school. These strangers are raising your kids. My kids see their teachers more hours a day than I see my kids for a year. And at the end of the year, summer comes and I reclaim my kids, but next year another teacher will see my kids. Like Felix's homeroom teacher sees him more than I do this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that teacher will have a lifelong impact on my son.
Yeah.
It's my job to make sure that what I do at home
Mm-hmm.
is to build a space where Felix can decide who Felix is going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even
With
when my
all
kids'
of the
beliefs
different-
conflict with my beliefs,
Yeah.
it's difficult to make space. There are a few things that are non-negotiable, right? Like both of my sons didn't grow up Proud Boys, right?
Non-negotiable. Yeah. Yeah.
Non-negotiable. You
Yeah,
don't get to grow up to
that's
be a
easy.
young Nazi, but
Yeah, that's totally easy.
but what if they did, right? It's it's my parents fought against their parents over things that are no-brainers to me, right? My parents fought with me over things that I thought were no-brainers. And then what if my kids were thinking on a level that was like, no, it's a no-brainer, you don't get to be a Proud Boy, but they're like, but what if I want to be a Proud Boy? How do you rectify not, you want to kidnap your kid and deprogram them? Still a challenge. You really only have the first 6 years to have any impact, really. You have them for 6 years. You have a little bit of influence, and the rest of their life, they're coasting on what you taught them in the first 6 years. So.
That's really
Is it? Thank you. I thought it was a little ill-conceived.
That is free. She's free. Ill-conceived.
Yeah.
Ill-conceived. Ooh. Well, I'm going to run off and do stuff that you've been talking about, which is scanning. So I'm going to say,
What are you scanning, Theo?
I've got some artwork, and I've got a book a book of stuff that I need to scan so that I can send it to someone because it's important.
Have you ever considered
exciting.
publishing, my friend?
Publishing?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Okay.
The closest I've gotten to it is a couple of movie thingies up on YouTube. So, but as far as no, I'd need someone to guide me through that process. And, I don't have any money to do that, and I'm not sure that the final product would be of interest to anyone but myself. So, and I'm already at that situation with my art, so I'm worried about further being done up in print, as it were. Yeah.
I am taking you at your word, so I will not persist. I might ask you again, though.
Oh, okay. Well, you're not the first person to ask, so there you go.
Have fun scanning.
Yeah, I always have fun scanning.
Do you really enjoy scanning?
No, it's a job. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
something that needs to be done.
I thought was that sarcasm then, or do you?
Yeah, it was kind of sarcasm, and all of my equipment is really old, so I keep waiting for the day that this wonderful scanner that I got for $150 will cack, and I won't be able to fix it because it was a really good scanner when I got a hold of it. It was one of those oh my goodness, it doesn't have all of the latest gewgaws, and it's already 3 years. We can just send it to the recycling place, and the recycling place did just that. They sold it to me for $150, just like my printer. A $30,000 printer I got for $450.
How do you keep the ink in it?
Not ink. It's a laser printer.
Oh,
I'd never I've I like inkjet printers because of the great color you can get on them, but I'm not interested in great color. I'm just interested in color that's good enough. Having come from the printing industry, you might recognize that philosophy.
I came from the other end of the printing industry.
There you go.
I came from the end where color was never good enough.
Yeah, well, and that's fine as long as you're willing to pay the printer to give you the color that you want, then it's all good.
I was in a privileged position where I never had to pay the printers.
Oh, well, that's even better.
Somebody else paying but I will tell you this about the color and the printers. Oh, and I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah. What I don't miss was the idea that I could get a $300 job, do a $300 job, send it in, going back to Quark and Pages and so forth.
Yeah.
If I missed one button on a $20,000 print job, I might end up with black squares where there should have been, DeMong's dental photos. And then in that case, there'd be a discussion of who was paying for the print job. I remember for a guy that's not very organized, the stress of spell checking and
yep, proofing is everything in the printing industry.
Yeah,
both for the client and for the printer.
It kind of blows my mind that I never once had a print job that I had to pay for. I don't remember ever having one of those flaws. I know Jeff did. My business partner ran into some troubles with when he was doing Impact Magazine. There was a couple issues where, like, having just slightly clicked the wrong button, there was black squares in the advertisements where the ads were supposed to be, and it caused all kinds of trouble. I'm not sure how I avoided that because that seems like a Rich Teru mistake. But sometimes when I know I'm prone to make certain mistakes, I become extra vigilant.
Well,
wipes.
That's in the printing industry, and especially in the industry that I was in until I left it. Proofing was a very important thing.
Who ended up paying for those mistakes in the most part? Was it normal for the print company to eat those mistakes or the artist?
You signed off on a proof. If it was on the proof and you signed off on it, you paid for it.
So I would send the work in. They would send me proof. If there was a black square on that proof, then
you would go, oops, I got to send you another. I got to send you another file.
Okay, so that's why I never ran into trouble, because I would have never missed that on a proof, right?
There you go. Yep.
But I remember Jeff did.
Yeah, well, and it can happen, and particularly, in the bigger, a lot of times, it's not the creator or even the person that's hiring the work that might be writing it off. It might be left up to the printer's rep, in which case, oh my goodness, then it's the printer that ends up swallowing the loss and reprinting the job correctly.
I do sort of actually, and the more we talk about it, I think I remember some of those events.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think in almost every case, the printer paid for the fixes.
Well, if it was the printer's fault, I remember a huge job that we had that was for Fender guitars.
Yeah.
And now I can't remember whether it was the client or the printer rep. I think it was the printer rep. Insisting this was a very, very six color job with varnish and double-sided. And the guy was worried about a deadline, and he insisted that the press operators do the other side almost immediately. And they told him, no, you got to let it wait. It's got to dry. No. Okay, we'll do it. And so they ended up with 60,000 sheets of very heavy paperweights because they all glued themselves together.
Oh my.
Yeah, or if you damage the machine. Hey, do you have time for one quick technical question that I've been plagued with for around 30 years?
Sure.
All right, I can't believe I might have asked you this before, but I still don't know the answer. So I must not have asked very well, but I'm surprised I've never asked you this. When I left the refinery, which was the advertising agency I opened up with a couple friends, I took on an account where I made T-shirts for a company that bought the rights to stuff. So that was the year Ginger left the Spice Girls, and it was the Matthew Broderick Godzilla film. And I did hundreds of hours for Matt Groening. That my work went right to his desk.
Yeah.
We also did artwork for the two fellas at South Park. And so I would do the artwork. It would go to our company in Toronto. That company would send the artwork straight to the creators' desks for approval. And then I would get Bart Simpson drawings back with Matt Groening's signature on it. And part of my career was I had to like destroy those because they didn't want me selling pictures of Bart Simpson with Matt Groening's signature on it. But initially, I was doing the work in Photoshop and sending the files as
digitally. Yeah.
Digitally. They were taking those works and I remember being really shocked because going from print to T-shirts, they were complaining my files were too big. They're like, this guy keeps sending us files that are too big. Because for T-shirts, they wanted a DPI of 150. And for me, I had to be making 650 DPI images, at the very least 350 DPI. But they were upset that I was sending 600 DPI files when they wanted 150 DPI files, which was crazy to me because it's easy enough to put it in Photoshop and switch it down from 650 to 150. The reason for that is the dots per inch, the dots spread when they touch the fabric. So they have to have a much smaller DPI than you'd have for
yeah. Well, it's like doing 4-color process. You have to allow for, regardless of whatever the medium is, you have to allow for ink spread.
Okay, and that's exactly what I wanted to ask you, is because in that career, right before I left, my client had decided they suddenly wanted me to do the color separations, and I wasn't interested in doing that. I was more interested in the creative, but I also didn't know if I was too many steps away from the actual producers to know that I was doing the color separations properly. Because to me, I would imagine if I'm using film and doing color separations, if I wanted an orange, blue, and yellow ball, and say an orange, blue, yellow, and red ball, I would put yellow down for the orange ball and the yellow ball. I would put yellow down for the red ball and the I put yellow and red together to make the magenta, and then I would want the extra yellow for where the do you know what I'm saying? Like I would be thinking in layers of plastic, going, I need to put green in.
Yeah. Why? Okay. So here's my dumb question: was this before postscript and film? I mean,
this was in the 90s, sort of mid to late 90s.
Well, at that point, you should have been able to just output film.
Oh, I should have sent them film, you mean?
Yeah. Well, if they didn't have the means,
they just wanted digital files. But
all of the image setters for film, were separated in the imaging program in the RIP of the image setter, and so you got your 4 plates out, or whatever number that you so desired. You could output plates for spot as well, but
I don't know any of these words that you're talking, because
There
I
you
was
go.
coming at it from a Photoshop point of view. But it seemed to me if I just hit separate colors, because there's a file button for that. So I had a full color image, and when I separated, I used to save them out as
Oh
separate.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's exactly what the RIP does in the image center. You know,
So,
it'll
so if it was one,
it'll look at that color thing, and it knows all the values that are built into everything, and it dumps out a half screen film for each color.
so if it was the one step of having, because it was literally just one step to go into Photoshop, take the existing file, two steps if they wanted to change it from 600 DPI to 150 DPI. I can understand they didn't want to bog down their system with files that were too big, but if it was just as simple as clicking color separations and save, why were they so insistent that I do that for them?
I have no idea. I'm going to assume that they were
Idiots.
they didn't know what the hell they were doing in the first place.
Yeah.
Other than, okay, I know how to deal with it once I get the film on the you know on the silk screen table and go from there. But yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, it was a mystery to me because they asked for color separations, and I'm like, they're willing to pay almost like double to get the color separations. I'm like, it's just one button. Like, I must not be understanding it properly because previously,
Yeah, that's all you had to do was print out. You know, just go into CMYK, print the CM. You know, assuming you were sending it to an image setter for film.
And then don't you think it would have been easier for them to receive a file with more data than they needed, so they could reduce this if they wanted to, and then just have the one file that they could color separate right before they go to print?
Yep, that's entirely right. You know,
well, I spent the last 30 years wondering what their problem was, but it probably had somebody that just barely knew how to use Photoshop. I had a similar situation last year where a friend of mine asked me to make a poster for him, and I made a poster for him, and it was just, I sent it as a JPEG because they said they didn't care if it was a JPEG or a TIFF, or they didn't care what format, so I sent it as a JPEG. Yeah. And then he kept sending it back to me, asking me to change the resolution because his printer said it was the wrong resolution. Now, by his printer, it was like the bartender that made posters for their events. And I'm like, I'm not gonna put this file in and resave it as a different DPI for you when your layout artist is putting together should just be able to handle that. Like, they wanted me to go back in and like they asked me like 6 times to change the size of the image. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's a
why are you asking me to do that when you can do that?
Like they want me to drive over and click the save as button for them,
or the equivalent. Well, enough wonderful stories about the printing industry. I bid you all adieu. Have a wonderful week. Love you.
Love you. Take care.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
What time is it?
It is 9 o'clock. 8:53.
We don't really have a system that says we have to go to a certain time,
No,
do we?
we can do whatever we want.
I don't see, where does it say how many people we have?
Oh, no.
Or 4. We got 4 people with us. We got some Kelly with us.
Here you go, Kelly.
Did you just log us out?
No, I just went over to Instagram.
Oh.
This is.
Oh, why did the ending come up when you went to Instagram?
That was because it like went back to like the beginning of it, because I was on the beginning of it when I clicked off of Instagram. Is the beginning, not the end. This is the end. Were you reading all of the comments?
I was reading some of them. We do have some people with us. Yeah. We also don't have any kind of like stipulation for how long we need to be here. So what do you think?
I'm pretty tired tonight.
You're tired? So we'll go 6 more minutes.
That sounds nice.
We'll do a 2-hour broadcast tonight. Some nights it'll go longer, but tonight it's 2 hours.
That's nice. Oh, I like that sweater.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
It's nice. Sometimes just like the weight of it is perfect, and boop.
Oh, let's not.
I'll
yeah, thank you.
rinse this.
I'm literally sitting here with a ball waiting for the broadcast to end because I'm out of ideas for tonight. It's like the end of the world as we know it, Jesse. That's just great. You know, it starts with an earthquake.
Are you guys gonna do another gallery thing with your extra paintings?
I'm not sure. We're thinking of
What
what
was
to
the
do next.
question?
If we're gonna do another gallery evening.
An art
thing.
show.
Yeah.
You're
so,
asking?
yeah.
I have a different plan, Kelly. You want to know my different plan?
Sure.
Can you grab my book?
My voice is a little bit off. I have bronchitis.
That's okay. I'll show you my extra plan, though. This actually gives me something to do for the last 8 minutes of the broadcast. 6 minutes. I think it's right. You walked by it.
Oh.
It was right on the other side of this table.
We moved everything.
We didn't.
I didn't move this because you were putting the.
I think it's right there.
It's not.
Okay, then one of us moved it, and it wasn't me.
I
Yeah.
have to figure out how much tariffs are for sending something.
Sorry, what?
I have a bearer that I have to send to Chicago, I think, or something, and I have to figure out if I'm using tariffs or something. I don't know. Never done anything like that, so.
Okay, well, let me tell you something. If there was a tariffs on Scare Bears, it would be the American purchaser's obligation to pay that tariff. It's not a Canadians don't pay the tariffs on things going into America. And I'm pretty sure Mark Carney's not tariffing art. But if you've ever used ChatGPT for any reason, that would be a perfect opportunity for you to find out an answer using the ChatGPT. And then once you get an answer, I would ask the ChatGPT to direct you somewhere that can confirm that that's the truth.
Okay.
So this is what I'm doing with my art right now. I have 2 of these books. The other ones I put away. But basically, as I finish the drawings, I'm putting them into my book, and then I'm going to start having some we're just going to have friends over for dinner, and they can come over and look at my artwork and eat, and it'll be like a way less stress art show. But should they want a piece of artwork, they could probably buy it, very inexpensive, and then we'll find a way to donate that money to a needy cause. So soup and. Forget what the other thing we eat. Oh yeah, Jesse's. We've been inventing our own food, and it's all pretty tasty. So it's not for the weak of heart.
Gotcha.
It's for adventurers only.
I've been watching Adventure TV where they're eating Madagascar cockroaches.
Not that scary. We're not that scary.
Here's a question, and I forget what I was going to say. So
Would I eat it? No.
What?
Would I eat the cockroaches? No.
Have you ever had lobster?
Yep.
Do you like lobster?
Yeah, it's pretty rich for me. I have to eat it in moderation.
How different is lobster from a cockroach?
Lobsters are better.
No, but how different are they?
They're just bigger.
They're just bigger and not as crunchy.
Well, I don't think you eat the cockroach shell.
No, people were eating the cockroach shell. I saw it on
Small, I think they.
it was on
If you
Instagram.
like lobster, you'd probably love cockroach.
No.
They're the same creature.
You don't, in lobster, you take it out of the shell first.
Yes. I think we're having the same conversation. But if it makes you feel better to call one lobster and the other cockroach, I will not interfere because I can see that would be there. It turns out that I think they used to serve lobster to prisoners in like Newfoundland or something. And I have to check all these facts because I'm not making it up, but I'm probably not remembering it perfectly. But they had a law saying they were only allowed to eat bugs once a week. So it was sort of considered like bread and butter food torture that they would feed these people lobsters. And then it turns out the lobsters tasted pretty good and it became a delicacy. But most of the delicacies are stuff that like you probably
Like
shouldn't eat.
escargot and like, yeah.
Well, lobsters are bottom feeders, cockroaches are, but they're basically the same creature. Just one's bigger and underwater. So I'm
If you
like,
want to watch something really weird, watch Fear Factor. They show people eating stuff.
you know, I've seen Fear Factor and it does nothing for me. And I'll tell you why. Is I lived in my car and I went to art school. And when I see this show where they're going to give somebody $10,000 to eat a lobster, I mean, there's times in my life I would have eaten that lobster for $50 without questioning it. And there's other times in my life I would have eaten that lobster because I was hungry enough. So Fear Factor does not impress me.
Why
It's
you
just,
so,
they should have done it with art students and it'd be a very short show.
That's what you said.
What?
You told me that before. I thought it was really funny.
If Fear Factor was about art students, there'd be no challenge to it. Like, do you want to eat this? I'm like, I'm kind of hungry. It's like, you know, it might kill you. I'm like, lots of things will kill me. Making art's gonna kill me. I've got a $70,000 student loan for a degree that doesn't lead to a job. Like, you think I'm afraid of eating some bugs or climbing across a rope? No fear at all.
where'd you get the little glass thing they're playing with, the ball?
I don't know. I have a lot of things. I don't know where they came from. It is a crystal marble. I probably should treat it with more respect because I think it's crystal. And it's quite magical. And the only thing I can tell you is a lot of times when people were like cleaning their art studios, say if a elderly artist passed through the needle and went to heaven, their family members would often come by the gallery and ask if we would receive their stuff. So they would drop off an entire room full of junk. And out of respect, Jesse and I would pull apart those collections and probably put 2 truckloads to the dump because a lot of that stuff was old and maybe toxic. And then we would recover whatever pieces needed to be salvaged and appreciated. So I have this particular lens or marble or crystal. I don't know why I have it other than I didn't
We
throw
kind
it.
of collect stones and gems too. So
Yeah, but where do you think this came from? I usually normally use it as the eyeball and Crazy Harold here. Also donated to us. You'd think it's the kind of thing I would buy, but somebody just like, I think you like skulls like this. And we had like parts of a skull like this. Jess has one at school missing half the teeth and the head's falling off. But this is by far the most complete version of a skull like this we've ever seen. And it was just gifted to us as somebody was moving. And it's super intact. It's really in great shape. But normally I take this crystal and I just let it live in this guy's eye. It's a bit of a bugger to get out, so it doesn't get scratched up in there, and he's got one eye. And most of the skulls we have here, I have at least one eye. And when I say most of the skulls, this is super soothing. It might make you wonder how many
like
skulls we
that
have.
mug you found. With
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that vial I was showing online here.
What?
This vial has water from Hawaii.
Oh, that's nice. From the ocean.
Did you go to Hawaii and bring water back?
Yeah.
What did you discover about your tariffs? Was I correct?
Yeah, I haven't looked yet, but I have a feeling you're right.
I'm going to try and find some information on tariffs.
When you heard about the gargoyle house, right?
Yes. But you can tell us again.
Okay, so the gargoyle house is that house on 14th Street, Southland. It had gargoyles on the outside. They put them back. Me and a friend named Ian, we did the house. We did a haunted yard in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
We designed it.
Can you tell me where you're sending your bear to?
I think it's Chicago. Yeah, so we did the backyard. It took 2 weeks to put it up. On Halloween, they raised
How much is the value of the item?
60. Um, what was it? So they had 2,000 people go through on Halloween night, and they raised 1,100 pounds of food for the food bank,
Amazing.
and $500 for the food bank as well.
That is so nice.
And then it took 2 days to take it down, and now they're doing. I think they're going to do a Christmas Wonderland, and so we're not designing it because we're not really into the Christmas stuff. But I saw how much was going on there. The whole roof actually has skeletons on the outside. They didn't take the Halloween stuff down; they left it up there. It's on the other side, and then they've got like the snowman and Mickey and Minnie and a whole bunch of stuff going on. So they'll probably have a drone flying over top as well.
That's all crazy.
I don't think you're going to have tariff problems. Was the buyer asking you about tariffs, or is that something you thought of?
I just thought of, because some people are actually telling me they have to.
I think there's a couple things that I've seen happen. Shane Holtman sold a piece of artwork in America, and they wanted it sent framed, and he wanted to unroll it and send it unframed so they could reframe it in America. And they wanted him to send the painting framed, but the problem was certain kinds of wood you can't send from Canada to America because of the bugs in the wood. So there's certain things you're not allowed to bring across the border, and a wood painting's one of them, or a wood frame on a painting. So that was kind of a no-brainer, but I don't think you're going to have any problems with the tariffs. Again, I'm not a tariff lawyer, so you can still look into that if you want to, but taxes and copyright are probably the biggest challenges for us these days as artists. And so I would make sure those two things are covered. Make sure you're paying your taxes, and make sure that you're accounting for copyright. That if you've used somebody else's bear to create this bear, it should be like 30% of the original bear, right? And it's not the kind of thing anybody's really enforcing so much as if you want to look into your own heart and do it properly. Making sure that you're not infringing on the bear. Like a Disney bear would be, even a bigger risk because Disney's quite protective about their copyright rules. But I don't foresee you having trouble with tariffs.
Okay.
And again, I still think that's the buyer's problem in America. That'd be Donald Trump saying, "I'm tariffing stuffed monster bears," and I bet you he doesn't have a category for that. A lot of times they don't have a category for that until they see one. Like, oh, I don't know what this is. There was a moment where
it's mostly aluminum and metals, like it's.
Yeah. I was going to give you a suggestion for your skull. Why don't you stick a light in it?
It's not hollow. Well, it's hollow enough, I guess, to put a light in, but the light wouldn't really shine out. I do have Christmas lights in some of the other skulls. So you're not completely off, but this one I just like the eyeball.
Need an air one.
What?
Need an air eyeball.
I don't know where this one came from.
It's just a nice,
it's just a good place.
It's like the Fates. The three women share
I
one
more
eyeball.
thought it was where I remembered my crystal is. If I need my crystal, I go and poke Jack Sparrow in the eye here.
There you go.
Picking his nose.
It's like the other guy, the other pirate, where he has one wooden eye.
For the haunted house there, I had an idea, and I actually lent the guy. I had 12 skeletons in the basement here, and I lent him the skeletons, and so they had them climbing up the columns.
Nice.
So.
I know I really handled this this sphere quite a bit. Like I touched it a lot. And I'm not sure it's clean. But I want to see something. As I scratch it. Oh, it sounds pretty unscratchable.
Put some rubbing alcohol on it. You'd be good.
Yeah, you have the rubbing.
Well, I'm going to drink this water. But I kind of have a theory.
crystal, probably. Sounds like it.
Can't see it at all on the bottom, can you?
No.
Something to
You
choke
hear
on.
it.
Yeah, it's invisible.
Oh,
Oh, no,
that's
it's,
great.
you can kind of see it.
Just see a shadow.
It's a ghost. It's a ghost bubble. I actually really like how that looks.
We should take pictures through that.
Yeah, for sure. It's 9:11. We were going to go till 9. That is not going in my water. I like what I don't. I have here. I have a
This one has
completely.
bubbles.
This is a glass ball. I have a completely different feeling about this. This scares me.
Yeah.
It
That
scares you.
looks like resin.
I can tell you it's glass.
It looks like
It'd
resin.
be the worst resin ever because you're supposed to get the bubbles out of the resin. And I think somebody went to great lengths to put these bubbles into the glass. So this is the difference between resin and glass. Is this would be a success of bubbles versus a failure of bubbles. This seems to me like a resin nightmare, Kelly. Isn't that way too much bubbles?
It's okay if you want to have bubbles.
Yeah. How often do you purposely put bubbles in?
A couple times, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I do these dragons. I have these little dragons that actually I'm casting right now, so they're drawing right now. It takes about 5 days for them because they're ultra cal.
Yeah.
The ultra cal actually is supposed to have no bubbles.
I was thinking the other day there's something I really wanted to cast in resin. I cannot remember what it was, but I did think it would be nice if you were interested in doing some resin for me. I also know it's expensive and a pain in the butt.
I have lots of resin here, so I've got 6 gallons of resin.
If I come up with something that I want to cast in resin and I provide you a mold, is that something that I would get you to do? And what would you charge me for that?
Just the cost of the resin. I don't really charge for
The worst business person ever. Tell me what you would charge me for it.
It depends on how big it is.
Like maybe the size of my hand. How would that go?
$50.
Okay, that sounds fair.
Okay.
Wait, is that for the resin?
That's for everything.
That includes your time?
Yep.
Okay. If that's a good price for you, I'd be happy to pay $50.
Yep.
It could be that what I was thinking about was a wax casting. Where
the thing with the resin, though, the mold, you have to make sure it's a silicone mold. It cannot be plastic. If it is plastic, it will melt the plastic. So it has to be either rubber or silicone.
It does change things. I think I wanted to make. Well, I'll talk to you about it later. Why is the resin heated up?
Yeah. So what happens? It's like a chemical reaction. So it's like an A and a B. So a hardener and a resin.
Right.
And so usually it takes about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. So once I mix it,
it gets hotter than plaster.
It gets warm, and then when you put it in the mold, it heats up quite considerably. It actually is warmer than plastic.
Then I don't think resin's what I want.
The thing is,
because now the more I think about it, is I had some wax in my classroom. I wanted to do some stuff with wax, and I've often used wax to make my mold. So I'll make the form out of wax. I'll put a mold on it, and then I can melt the wax out of the mold, which is a nice way of removing it. But it occurred to me I can make a wax mold and then melt the wax mold off of the form, off of the final product. And if I did it that way, it's like one step removed, but I would have to be pouring something into the wax, maybe plaster.
It might work. The reason why I'm saying may or may not work, I did do a wax coaster. So the mold was silicone, but I actually poured wax right directly into the resin. And it did harden.
No, that's kind of backwards to me. Wax for me is really easy and something it's temporary and easy. And then when I make something out of wax, I want to turn it into something more solid with the casting. And I hear what you're saying, like you're experimenting with a more solid cast and you cast wax out of it. And that's perfectly cool. I mean, chocolate's cool too, right? Like
Yeah.
But that's not my interest. I could work with chocolate and wax. I usually use casting to replace a disposable material, and it's a terrible thing to say about art, but like, yeah, I'm making. Do you know that uh, Duchamp? We often see these bronze statues that Duchamp had, and they were made out of wax. And he made them. He made these statues in his studio to paint from, and he had thousands of wax statues that they cast by turning them into bronze. But to make the bronze statues out of Duchamp's wax castings meant destroying the actual artwork and replacing them with bronze replicas of the artwork, which is really intriguing when you think about it.
Because there's a couple things also I've done with, say, 3D printed stuff. The
Yeah.
3D print was bad. I actually painted the 3D print to reinforce it. So I actually haven't tried. I would like to paint a wax mold, like if something was molded with wax,
Yeah.
try and paint it with the resin.
Do you know what my least interest in 3D printing is? And I might be wrong about this,
I don't like the
but if
line.
they melt the plastic to shape it, does that mean I'm making a product that would melt easily?
I'm not
Or
sure.
does it go through a chemical change where it stops being malleable?
It stops actually because it's hard plastic. So I think with paint, I painted it on with a brush. But if you were actually dipping it in there, I think the chemical reaction would actually melt it.
Okay.
Like I'm
Like
actually,
if I had a 3D printed keychain that I bought at a market and I lit it with a lighter, it's not going to melt the way the 3D
the
product.
3D print will actually light on fire actually
Okay.
because the plastic is thinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind 3D print stuff, but I don't really use it anyways. I do use it for, like, I have a couple skulls here that are actually 3D printed, but they're resin
Yeah.
3D printed. That's a different process where it's printed in one point and then they actually have to clean it and then they stick it in a resin bath or something or in a hardener.
Yeah.
It's like a light that hardens it.
Gotcha.
Like right now, I know like the skull you're holding, they don't make stuff like that. Like they make that stuff is harder than the printing of
This
skulls.
plastic.
Yeah, it's harder than the resin or the 3D
Yeah.
print stuff.
I wonder if this plastic is sort of made to be as hard as a bone.
You could cast that, you know.
I wouldn't though. I could, but I wouldn't.
You can cast that a different way. You can actually you make I think a negative of it, so you
Yeah,
actually would have
But I
to,
wouldn't cast the skull. It's not my.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
but there's a whole bunch of things like I have stuff that I can cast for different properties, like rubber casting.
There's really just one thing I want.
Yeah, we can
3D,
try
right?
it. If you want to do like a little test.
I'd like a 3D printed Lion Man. Just because I can't get any, I've looked for a lot. I might look again tonight. Maybe there's come across it since, but there's a piece of artwork I'd like. I have a Venus of Willendorf, and I'd like an Iron Man, but Lion Man. Sorry, not Iron Man. Getting tired. Lion Man. That's your art homework, my dear.
Art history homework.
Look up Lion Man, okay?
Okay.
It's not a Marvel character.
No. Lion Man.
Jesse's gonna sing to us.
I'm trying to think. Am I? That was lots of pressure. Here. Okay. We lived our little drama. We kissed in a field of white, and stars fell on Alabama last night. I can't forget the glamour your eyes held a tender light, and stars fell on Alabama last night. I never planned in my imagination a situation so heavenly, a fairyland where no one else could enter, and in the center, just you and me, dear. My